whatever it is.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would say kick off your section and then we can kind of ask questions, be conversational about each person's, but like the first person kind of share the importance of that area and then we can explore and flow.
Are we going to be able to see any comments?
I can look on the thing. The only thing is I'm having issues with my stream on mine, so
okay, no worries. I'll do it in my group.
Remove, yeah, that. Yeah, I can't go to mine. I can't go to yours. That's hilarious. Okay, custom.
Okay. Take your time. I'll just
stream key. It's fine. Copy. Be the boss. Add. Save. And now I think we're good. Give me a big yes. All right, we're there. All right, so I'm going to hit go live in Chris's group, going live in Steph's group. All right. Here we are.
Hi.
Hi, this is fun. We get to do technical stuff and play with new technology and give all of you guys out there a really awesome new experience. This is what I get to do when I work with Chris and in Activate Abundance. I get to help people figure out all of the weird tech stuff. So, Chris.
Hi. Oh. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you guys here inside of our training tonight. We are diving into some really, really cool stuff. Thank you for being just a few minutes patient. We're only actually 1 minute late here trying to do this. This is like a new thing, which is actually really, really fun. And it's perfect for what it is that I get to share with you guys tonight, which is all about choosing the energy that you want to be in, regardless of whatever crazy wonkiness happens on the outside, right? So Stephanie is amazing, by the way. She is not only an amazing health coach and nutritional expert, but she is our tech coach on the back end of Activate Abundance Academy and Holistic Business Foundations and Launch Well and all of those things. So super, super excited to have Steph here with us. Samantha, many of you guys know her. She is an amazing life coach, health coach, and the founder of Vibe. So we decided just on a whim that we were all three going to come together and we're going to talk about energy, because Steph talks about energy nutritionally with our body and how we can actually have more energy to do the things that we need to do. I talk about energy from the perspective of choosing the emotional energy and the daily alignment energy that we want to be in. And then Sam is going to round us out. She is actually also our master mindset piece on the inside of Activate Abundance too. And so this is just going to be super, super fun. So I get to go first. So by the way, if you guys are here, please let us know that you're here. We are inside of a new platform called StreamYard, so I can't necessarily see all of the comments, but I promise you I will circle back around. I will answer any questions, or if Steph and Sam see anything that they feel is important, they'll let me know for sure too. But let us know that you're here. Just give us a hi in the chat. Give us a hashtag live if you're here live with us. Give us a hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. By the way, these Monday night soulful business tips you can find inside of the guide section. So if you're in the Facebook group, just go to the very top at the front of the page. You can click on guides and you can scroll down to the Monday soulful business trainings, and you can find lots of the past business trainings to support you to build and grow your business in a way that feels really good and aligned. So welcome. Speaking of alignment, I get to go all in on daily alignment. And I love talking about this. I actually do this on a daily basis for myself. I teach this as the number one thing that we share inside of Activate Abundance Academy. And that is, we get to decide the energy that we are in every day, every moment. And this is something that is so, so important, because if we're not choosing the energy that we're in, then what ends up happening is that we become reactive. right? Whatever is happening out there in the world, we're letting those circumstances create our feelings and take us out of abundance, take us out of joy, take us out of fulfillment, take us out of freedom, whatever that is for you. And so this daily alignment practice is really, really important. It's been really, really important for me. It allows me to create emotional resilience. It allows me to put a check on the thoughts that I've got playing in the background that either have me lean in when things get hard or lean out and try to like burn my business down. What I have almost done many times. And so mindset is really, really important. And really that's what we're talking about here is how are we setting ourselves up for success on a daily basis? And every Monday, I actually pop inside of our Voxer chat and I say, okay, guys, how do you want to feel this week? How do you want to feel? And so I'm going to take you through the exact same process that I use myself and that I teach to my clients as well. So there's 4 steps and I'm going to take you through those. And then if you guys have any questions, please pop them in the chat. But step 1 really is just choosing, right? Choosing when you wake up in the morning, really being intentional, because remember, energy goes where intent, or energy flows where intention goes, right? So we are being intentional about how is it that I want to feel today? Do I want to feel joyful? Do I want to feel relaxed? Do I want to feel confident? Do I want to feel peaceful? Do I want to feel abundant? Whatever that is for you, we get to first say, you know what, this is the way I want to feel today. This is the way I want to feel this week. This is the energy that I want to be my come from. Okay, because we can't create from scarcity. So if we're in fear, if we are in, oh my gosh, I don't know if anybody's going to buy my thing, or I don't know if this is priced well, or I don't know what to do to say the right thing and to get a client to work with me, that's actually scarcity and we can't create from there. So we have to actually get first into an energy that is allowing us to create abundance and to create more of what it is that we want more of. And the only way to do that is to be in this alignment place that is going to be resonant with more of what it is that we want more of, right? So if we don't want more worry, we don't want to feel worried, right? We want to feel relaxed. For me, and by the way, Samantha Schmuck used to be my success coach way back when. And I remember her asking me, how do you want to feel? And I'm like, I want to feel a sense of relaxed confidence. And that has stayed with me forever. And so, coming back and saying, you know what, I want to feel a sense of relaxed confidence as I go through my day, whether I'm having a conversation with somebody, whether I'm creating a Facebook post, where I'm putting out an email, whether I'm doing a live training with new tech, whatever it is, right? I get to decide first, this is the energy that I want to be in. So step 1 is choose. What's the energy you want to be in? Step 2, what are thoughts that you can think that allow you to have that feeling? Okay, so for those of you that are familiar with the thought model, our thoughts create feelings, right? Feelings create actions, inactions, or reactions. And those actions, inactions, or reactions actually create results. Okay, so if I want to have a sense of relaxed confidence, I get to put beliefs, another word for beliefs are thoughts, on repeat that allow me to feel a sense of relaxed confidence. So my thought today with going live in a new platform was, we're going to figure it out. We just get to roll with it. No matter what, it's going to be fine, right? That gives me a sense of relaxed confidence, right? So that's the second step. Choose a series of 3 to 5 beliefs, thoughts that are going to give you the feeling that you're looking for, okay? Step 3 step 3 is, what do you want? Okay, now we get to decide, what are we actually calling in? So notice we haven't actually even taken any actions yet other than deciding mentally what it is that we want, maybe writing down 3 to 5 beliefs that are going to allow us to feel that way. Step 3, what do we want? What do we want? Do we want to have a conversation with a potential new client? Do we want to attract more people into our ecosystem? Do we want to create a freebie? What is it we want, right? It's going to be different for every single one of us, but we want to be clear with, well, what would I like today, right? What am I calling in today, this week, whatever it is that you want, okay? So that's important, because when we're clear with what it is that we want, now we can decide what actions. So step 4 is actions. What actions are we going to take? And I highly recommend that you do not pick more than 3. Why? Because if we start making a to-do list of all of the actions, it's actually not effective. We want to say, okay, what are the 3 most important actions that I could take that is going to propel me closer to what it is that I want to call in? So as an example, if I wanted to, book a consult call, or if I wanted to book a clarity call with somebody, then I would say, okay, that's what I want. And what are the steps that I would need to do? Well, for me personally, I would make a love list of, who are all the people that I've had a conversation with recently that might be interested in exploring more ways that I could support them. So maybe I'm going to make a list. So step 1 would make a list of the people who I would absolutely love to work with. We call this our love list, right? Step 2 might be, reach out, give them a personal message, connect with them, see how they're doing, see if there's a resource that I might have in my toolkit that I could share with them. And then step 3 would invite them to hop on a quick call, and I could walk them through the resource, see where they are, have a conversation with them to see if now or maybe a later time is the best fit. So I hope you guys can see how all of this works together, right? First, we're choosing the energy that we want to be in. Then we're backing it up with a belief plan, right? Our thoughts, beliefs that are going to help us to stay in that energy of relaxed confidence, right? Then we're going to say, all right, what are we calling in? What do I want? And then what are the 1 to 3 actions that I'm going to take today that is going to take me closer, right? We can't just meditate our way to success, right? This isn't just let me do an affirmation and, magically it's just going to come to me. Everything that we do stems from our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs. Our identity actually comes from that. But we also have to take the actions, right? And I call these inspired actions because we're intentional about them and we know that it's taking us to a certain place. And we also get to do them from the energy, right, of relaxed confidence, right? So when I'm reaching out to somebody, I'm relaxed and I'm confident. I'm not in my head thinking, oh my God, what if they say that? What if they say no? What if they think something bad about me? What if they think I just want their money, right? All of that is scarcity. Right. And so those are beliefs that are not in alignment or congruent with the way that I want to feel. So I get to make sure that I keep coming back to, all right, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? What are the thoughts that I can put on repeat? And so, so that's my personal daily alignment practice. It's what I've taught Steph to do. It's what we teach inside of Activate Abundance Academy. And I would love to hear from you guys. How does that sound for you? It actually takes less than 5 minutes. Actually takes less than 5 minutes when we do that. And when we do that on repeat every single day, it propels us forward because we are actually moving closer and closer to our goals from that abundant energy versus trying to hustle or close the deal or get the client or force something to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jen has said, I've to-do'd myself all the way to a nap.
100%.
We've got a number of people live with us, but I have one question for you, Chris, before I jump in, which is, we may have people tuning in with Samantha or in my community who may not own their own business or may not have clients, but this really applies to everything we do in life, right? Everything that we want to accomplish in a day, whether it's, planning a party.
Yeah.
Right. Which people can get super stressed over and freaked out. And we can have that scarcity. What if they don't come? What if they don't tell me? How do I know how many people to order for? Or we could just say, it's going to be good. I'll have a little extra. And if I bought too much food, leftovers, I don't cook for 3 days. It's
exactly. Yes. This is just so important because I think we are used to just being in reactionary mode. Right. And the problem with being in reactionary mode is that it's not intentional.
And it's stressful.
It's stressful. Yes, it's stressful. It creates anxiety. It creates fear. It creates doubt. And that actually causes procrastination. And it causes us to actually tap out of whatever it is that we actually want to create. So, yeah, absolutely. This works for anybody. Yeah. I'm a business coach for holistic practitioners. So my brain kind of goes there first because I teach this on a daily basis. But this works for anything. Right. And we had to do it actually when I was on vacation. And many of you guys know that know me or followed my personal profile that we actually got bussed to the Denali fire, which was absolutely ridiculous. And I had to really pull my mindset piece out and say, okay, Chris, you're freaking out. what do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? How are you going to move forward with this? And so I had to be intentional, and I had to pick thoughts that were going to allow me to feel relaxed, feel calm, feel supported, feel like my life wasn't in danger. so yeah.
So that you could take the actions that would keep you safe without,
Exactly.
The panic kind of creating that white noise so that you couldn't focus on the right things.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. For sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got some wonderful interactions on a couple of groups and here right now, so it's really great.
Yay.
You know,
We're a great group, you guys. This is so much fun.
I know. So, and so Margaret is talking about how she wants her clients to get back on track after the hurricane, and that she's in, she's not where the fires are. She is in Houston. Another person who's watching us today is who's participating with us today. It was in the fires in Northern California, and so she's still dealing with that, right? And so this applies, and we have, whether we have clients or whatever we're doing in our life, and that, if we're ready, is a perfect segue into what I want to talk about.
Yay.
Because woohoo, because physical energy, right? To be able to do all of the things that we want to be able to do, all of those actions on our list, right? That you've already come up with. What we want to be able to physically be able to do them, and without, as Jen says, to doing ourselves into a nap, right? Because that happens when you don't have the physical energy you need to support the work that you want to do in this world, whether it's for clients or family or yourself or your job or whatever it is that you're doing. So the very first thing that I want to start with is asking, where does our physical energy come from? This is actually our metabolic health. And I don't think a lot of people think about metabolic health, and they might think about how much you weigh, or your heart health, or your, whether or not you have diabetes. Yes, those are all indicative. But what is metabolic health really is your body's ability to convert food that you eat into actual energy in your body. And it does that in these tiny little things in your cells called mitochondria. And 90% of the energy in your body is created by mitochondria. And they produce energy primarily by taking either carbohydrates or fats that you eat, and through various biochemical processes turn them into ATP, which, if you remember your high school biology, is the energy currency of our cells, right? But that doesn't, it was, yeah, we learned it first in high school, I hope. Yeah. And, but the thing is your mitochondria aren't obligated to produce energy for you. They actually have two modes. They have, energy production mode, which they are in when their environment is biochemically safe, right? And so I'll describe what that means in a minute. And when when you're under any kind of threat, and it could be stress, you could be thinking yourself right into stress, and that is considered a threat in your body when it happens over and over and over again, and creates a physical stress in your body called oxidative stress, which leads to chronic inflammation. Well, when your mitochondria are in that state, they go into what's called a cell defense mode. They don't produce energy. They start producing more free radicals, reactive oxygen species, increasing oxidative stress to create a signal to your cells to start a protective mechanism at first for antioxidants and anti-inflammatory cascades to go along in your body. But when when they're chronically in that mode, we end up in this huge chronic inflammation. We have too much reactive oxygen species in our body, and we end up heading into our mitochondria getting more and more into this state. So they're not all in one or the other. We have this continuum, and it may be 5% offline at first, but then things go on in your life, and you might have a number of different places in your life where inflammation or things causing inflammation gets added. It doesn't have to just be stress. It could be you're not sleeping well, or you don't have a good sleep routine, and you're not having enough time at night for your body to rest and repair. Or it could be that you're eating a lot of foods that increase inflammation in your body. It could be that you're, spraying a lot of perfumes on your body, or you're using makeups that have a whole lot of additives that are damaging. In fact, you can look online. This is a big, huge deal for women and hormonal health and energetic health, is that we're putting so much on our bodies. And as we increase all these little places where inflammation comes in and turns our mitochondria off into the defense mode, we're basically sopping up all of our ability to respond we get to the point where we're no longer resilient enough to not have symptoms. And we get into the place where we're not just tired or, forgetting where we put our keys again, or, whatnot, but we actually get to the point where we're starting to gain weight, and maybe we're snoring, or maybe, we're starting to have a lot of joint pain, or we're even getting to the point where our gut is going off, and which will happen because mitochondria and gut communicate, actually. So the microbiome and mitochondrial health are inextricably bidirectionally connected, interestingly enough. But basically, you end up ultimately possibly even ending, with autoimmune conditions or metabolic health conditions, or conditions of chronic inflammation like heart disease and cancer and diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases, neuromuscular diseases, cognitive decline. All of those things are actually related. In the end, we can point out to mitochondrial health. So what do? Anything to incrementally decrease that allostatic load. That's how full your bucket is of stress. So the total amount of stress together is called an allostatic load of stress. And the more and more you can incrementally decrease it, just a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, your stress resilience, and you're just going to be bringing more and more of those little mitochondria back online. And so I love thinking of energy as the best health meter, way better than the weight scale, because you can start feeling your energy coming back before maybe you even see pounds coming off the scale, or you'll start to notice, autoimmune, it gets less and less, your pain starts to go away, you're sleeping a little better, all these things act together. Part of that is critical, is how are you approaching your life? What is your mindset going into your life? What are your beliefs? How do you want to feel? All of that is really important, because that's adding to that allostatic load. So that's one way to bring it down. You can, Samantha actually introduced me to the Yucca app, which I absolutely love, because before I would just sit there and read every single label myself. Now I get to scan barcodes and see what the score is, and know if there are things or ingredients in a personal care product or food that is actually not going to be good for my mitochondrial health. And that's how I like to think about it. My metabolic health, what's my overall inflammation? And I used to have to, personally, I used to have to take naps. I was in a lot of pain. I was pre-diabetic. I was much, much heavier than I am now. I don't nap at all. Like I feel like somebody's plugged me in, like I'm an Energizer bunny or something. Like, and it's simply because, I have taken what I'm teaching you to absolute heart in my own life, and with excitement and curiosity said, oh, what can I do here? What can I do there? And it took a period of time. I didn't change out my plastic Tupperware for glass right away. I'm sure Samantha was using a plastic water bottle for a while before she moved over to her stainless steel one, or, glass. I have my electrolytes in here, my homemade electrolyte mix. You know, you just do these things a little bit at a time. And guess what? Making those changes a little bit at a time reduces the amount of stress on your body, and keeps you from getting into that, oh my gosh, too many things are changing stress. So just making changes a little bit at a time is healthy for your mitochondria. So I don't know. Yeah, YUKA is the Yucca app. YUKA. And Emily, that's how you spell that.
YUKA. And what is that app?
YUKA.
It allows you to scan barcodes and see
of food and personal care products for ingredients you don't want, for inflammatory ingredients. Every once in a while, I personally disagree with something it says when it comes to food. I'm like, because I'm not anti-saturated fat. I don't think you need 50% of your food is saturated fat, but I think that there's still the conventional wisdom is that it's just this complete bad guy, when it really isn't, if you've got the right kind. But aside from that, I'm all on board.
Yeah, it definitely helps take the, oh my God, I need to know everything, and I need to know what every chemical is called and what it causes in the body. And it just helps kind of reduce that overwhelm and that need to know all of that information when you're going to the grocery store. And then that way you can just scan things and it's going to generally tell you approved, not approved. Is this something you want in your home, in your body, or not? And then like Steph says, I think there's always that nuance with guidelines and apps because they can be very rigid and strict. And then always just having that final discernment of, is this something that I'm okay with where I'm at on my journey, my price points to invest, all the things. So always with apps, they're amazing. They're so helpful with cutting down that information overload, and then just have a little discernment of like, okay, I don't have to go all or nothing. I you know what? I'm making a lot of great choices. This one, it doesn't say it's the best choice for me, but you know what? We're still going to choose this one for now, and that's okay. So being at choice with it. But
I'd love to have everybody just pop in the chat, like who would like more energy? Like who feels like they would love more energy? I know I normally sleep great. I did not sleep great last night. And so I know today my energy is just kind of lulling. And so when I listen to the mitochondria, like I'm like, I want more of those guys like turned on. I want more of my mitochondria doing more of what it's going to do. So I want to know more. Like, Steph, tell me.
I mean, so
my mitochondria.
There are ways. Like when I'm actually going to be teaching a little bit of this in August. I have my masterclass coming up for 3 days. It's free. Anybody who wants to come in, you're absolutely welcome to come in. But I actually talk about what are the ways to 6 simple shifts that turn your mitochondria back on. And I'll go into detail about how you do them, but ultimately you got to do no harm, right? You can't put out the fire of a building and start repairing it if somebody's still setting it on fire. Like we just can't do it, right? It's like you keep making the hole in the bucket while you're still trying to fill it in, and it's just going to keep emptying it out. So you're not going to get very far. So that's why I talk about like the yucca app and stuff. There's a very first place to start is like, what are things that I'm bringing in that are doing damage? What are ways that I'm thinking or being that might be doing damage? But then you get to say, okay, how can I heal it and restore? And so it's really for the foods that you are able to tolerate and you're not sensitive to and things like that. Eating whole foods from good non-contaminated sources, not mass farmed, so local produce if you can, or organic if that's the next best thing. EWG has a clean 15 and dirty dozen app, like a list if you don't have always, maybe the money to buy everything organic. So maybe you need to be choosy. I teach people like, how do you take care of your veggies so you can make sure there's no pesticides on them if you do have to get something that's not organic. Grass-fed, meats, pastured chickens. Chickens aren't vegetarian. So if you see one, it says, "Oh, vegetarian fed." Chickens aren't vegetarians. So they don't have. They're not. They're omnivores. They eat lizards and mice and insects and all kinds of things. So guess what? They're missing a whole bunch of their normal nutrients if they're vegetarian fed. So, so I like to get my meats from a meat share, and there are so many available now. You've got Butcher Box. Wild Pastures is a great one if you're, across the country. I am in New England area, so I can use Walden Local Meats. There may be local farms nearby that do meat shares for you. Fantastic option if you can do it. But otherwise do the best you can. A lot of stores do carry options now, even if you can't have them all the time, right? So you get to start healing your body, and then, buying or making your own bone broth, those types of things, very, very healing. And just making sure that you have nutrient dense foods. And then you can do other things that I call high energy hacks. There are breathing practices. There's cold therapy that activate your mitochondria. There's infrared sauna that helps with your sweat and detox and activating your mitochondria. Red light therapy that literally directly activates your mitochondria and turns them back on. I just don't like to turn them back on until the threat's gone. So personally, I do these things in order. Intermittent fasting and some extended fasts are absolutely incredible for your body and your health when you're ready to do them and you've done all the other things first, right? So I go through all of these things in the masterclass and in my 6-week course and with my clients. I mean, there's more to it. I can't tell everybody everything about it right now, but there are definitely things that you can do, and they work. So exciting.
We'll definitely make sure to pop that link there for anybody who wants to learn more about, increasing their energy. I love what you just said about the energy hacks. What did you call that?
High energy hacks.
High energy hacks. I want those.
I know. I actually need to create a freebie list of my high energy hacks. I have a whole class. One of my 6 weeks of my classes, the whole thing is on high energy hacks, and we have so much fun talking about this stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah, Maria says she has Wild Pastures subscription and she really likes it. So yeah.
Yeah. And we go to our farmers market. I'm here in the Carolinas. Every Saturday we go to the farmers market. There's always several local farms that we know and trust. So yeah, cool.
So much goodness. So much goodness.
All right, Sam, bring it home.
My turn.
I'm over here like, ooh, there's so much to share and to chat about. And just like, I absolutely love what each of you guys share, because it's through each of those practices that we naturally get to bring energy back into our lives. And I think one of the things that I love about what you share, Stephanie, is that visual of the mitochondria and realizing it's not all on or all off, but there is a spectrum. And to realize like, oh, my body's not broken. It has this, I always refer to it as body burden, but this allostatic load that's just making it difficult for my body to thrive. Mm-hmm. And by peeling back these layers of stress, I'm reducing that allostatic load. I'm increasing my body's natural ability and just allowing those energy centers to turn back on. So I'm obsessed with that. A lot of what I focus on with my clients is stress management and peeling back those layers, identifying those stressors. And I just adore how you just deep dive into the nitty-gritty science, because a lot of what I focus on is pieces of the physical health, with personal care products is a big one that I focus on, but really that emotional stress that comes into our life. And Chris was talking about it at the beginning of our day. Like, how are we choosing to kickstart our day? It's so easy first thing in the morning to have that habit of getting on your phone, scrolling, seeing what's going on in the world. And that's one of the easiest ways to like put out your energy at the start of the day, and just want to like crawl back into bed, pull the covers up and be like, nope, not today. And so, I'm curious, any of you out there, have you caught yourself in that habit lately of scrolling on your phone first thing in the morning? And how has your energy been as a result of that? So, if we're starting with our beautiful morning practice, we're getting our thoughts, we're getting our beliefs in order. We're throughout the day, we're identifying these stressors, we're peeling back those layers so our mitochondria can turn on. Now, what do we do? So that is where I love to share the practice that I founded, Vibe and Embodiment, which combines movement, music, and visualization to really take these beliefs from up in our head and root them down into our physical body, because we live in a very sedentary culture. We are in a sedentary epidemic, and it is leading to all of these health diseases that Steph is talking about. And so when we think about moving throughout the day, if we are in a negative headspace, and a lot of what I've moved through in my journey is anxiety and depression. And those two are huge energy killers, because our mind is running rampant, or that depression is kind of like sucking us down and pulling that energy, that life force out of us to move things forward. And so if you've ever been in that space of high stress, reactivity, anxiety, depression, and it's like, no matter what I journal or what belief I try to focus on, like I can't even feel it, embody it for more than a second. And it just like flips away, and I go back to scarcity. I go back to all of these negative thought loops that I just cannot break myself out of. That's where I really encourage you to lean on this practice called Vibe and Embodiment, to bring that mindset that you're wanting to embody down into the body. Because so much of the time, if we're sitting here and we're stagnant, that old belief system is really rooted in our body. and rooted in our DNA and how we operate throughout the day. And so when we can start to move our body in alignment with our thoughts, now we're giving ourselves physical proof of, oh, you can show up differently in the world. You can move past this loop in your head and literally physically feel yourself moving differently in the world. Chris was talking about that thought pattern of our thoughts create feelings, which create action. And if you've had some of those things that I was mentioning, you're going to kind of ping pong back and forth between thoughts and feelings and not go into that action or be in that inaction, that reaction. And so when we practice vibe and embodiment, there's 5 steps that are with it. So the first step is awareness. How am I doing right now? Maybe you did really good in that morning routine, but something happened by 11 o'clock and you completely forgot that energy that you were rooting into that day. There's so many little, either a drive-by thought or somebody saying to you. I love a drive-by thought.
Drive-by thought.
Because, we can't help our thoughts. We can redirect our thoughts, but we can't stop thoughts from coming in. The more that you do these practices, the less and less those old limiting thoughts will be blaring, but they might still be these little drive-by whispers like, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to choose me anymore? And so when we hear those come in, it's 11 o'clock, something happened, someone said something, and you're just catching yourself like, ugh, kind of living in that old way of being. This is a practice to just shift your physical energy and bring in those new thoughts again. So you're aligning your mind, body, and soul is really how I like to look at it. And you're moving everything in alignment. And so step 1 is that awareness of, am I living in that embodiment that I want to live in? Am I still in those empowered thoughts and feelings and beliefs from this morning? If yes, incredible. Maybe you're going to do a vibe practice to just amplify that for the rest of the day. And a vibe and embodiment practice can literally be one song. One song, 3 minutes. And what's beautiful about that is it's going to get you active. It's going to get you moving. It's going to shift up this sedentary culture that we're in and just bring movement back to being a normal part of our every single day. So you've noticed where you're at, how you're feeling. The next step is connect. Okay, am I in my body? Am I living in my head? Where am I at? What are the different tools that I can use to get back into connecting to my body? First things first, your breath. Am I breathing? Take a big, deep breath. If you're on this call and you're like, ooh, I don't really know if I've been breathing. Breathe it in through your nose and exhale it out. And first and foremost, just notice what that feels like. So find that awareness, create that connection back into your body. Notice where those feelings are living, whether it's the feelings of peace and calm, or it's the feeling of stress and anxiety. Just notice, like, is this in my heart? Is this in my belly? Instead of just, a lot of us detach when we feel intense sensation and feelings and feedback from our body. And we're like, oh, focus elsewhere, ignore, avoid. We have to notice, like, where am I actually feeling this in my body, to just bring that deeper awareness, that deeper connection. And from there, you're going to turn on a song. You can hit shuffle on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to music. Or I encourage you, if you really know like what energy you're in, choose that song first. So if you're in really heavy energy, putting on a high upbeat, like really empowering song is going to clash. And it's not going to feel good. And your brain is going to be like, F you. No, this is where I'm at. And it's going to actually retract and contract. So I encourage you, you have to first meet yourself where you're at. Have space for yourself to move through that heavy energy, the thoughts that are coming up. And vibe and embodiment teaches you how to be that curious observer of the thoughts, the feelings coming up for you versus attaching to them and living by them. So you're putting on that heavy song, Human. His name's not Rag and Bone. I'm totally blanking on his name. But if you search the song Human, it's a really heavy, just like, get it out. Have compassion. All of us are only human. We have hard days. We mess up, but how do we get back up? And that is the point of this. So choose a song that meets you where you're at, that is that same vibe that you're in. And then once you're able to shake out that stagnant energy, those emotions that might be hidden or trapped in your body, and you shake those out, then see, what is a song where I want to go? When I think back to that morning routine and getting in alignment with those thoughts that I wanted for the day, what's a more high energy song that really embodies that energy? Now that you've shaken that out, put that song on, and you'll be able to receive it more because you've kind of cleared out this energy that's going to try to push out that good energy. And when we do that, it allows us to process all the feelings, the thoughts, that energy that's within. It allows us to integrate any past experiences that we had that's causing us to feel that present day limiting belief and sensation. And then once we're able to do that, it lets us expand and walk forward more clear, and more rooted in, okay, like I get to choose to show up really calm. I don't know how this tech thing's going to go or whatever, but like, you know what? I have the capacity and the space to move more freely through this experience without attachment of one sensation or another. I'm more open, I'm more at choice, and I'm more curious to see how something's going to go. Otherwise, we can get really rigid and locked in to the different things that we're doing and just the different beliefs and mindsets and identity of how we see ourselves. And I think the last thing that I wanted to speak to was it's going to help you release stress in little ways throughout the day. You know, so even every hour you can put on a song, get away from your computer, sit up, because we don't even realize how many little stressors we're just like locking in and stacking up throughout the day, from an email, a text, something we saw on the news. And we're like, oh gosh, that really upsets me, but like lock it out and just keep moving forward. And they'll stay with us until we have the space to really process and feel them, or they make us stop, process, and feel them. And I think that's the last thing any of us want, is for you to get to that point where your body and mind just like, nope, not doing it. And they crash. And then you have to really figure out and pull in all these tools, but it's so much bigger of a lift. Don't take these time. We don't do these practices for ourselves. So I always say these little stress relievers throughout the day. Get up, move your body, feel, process, let things out. And then it's increasing your capacity to hold both. Like Steph was saying, we have some mitochondria that are on, we have some that are off. We can't only be positive all the time. We are human. We have the entire range of the emotional spectrum, but it's saying like, how can I allow myself to hold both? You know, we could be moving through some really hard family challenges, but be having the best experiences in our business or in friendship or in work. And so it's like, it's hard for us to sometimes realize that both of these emotions can be present and within us at any one time. And we often tend to focus on one or the other. And so this practice really gives you space to just honor the entire range of who you are.
Yeah, I wanted to say, when you were talking about what happens when we ignore, and it snaps. I don't, how many of you did that when your children were little, or you have a day where, you're with your partner, or if you're with a friend and something happened and you skunk all over them, like you just, right? That's and you just had nothing left. It was the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back, right? And the thing is we don't want to get to that place. We want to make sure there's always margin to be able to deal lovingly with whatever, maybe a kid is just going, mom, 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 and they want to tell you they pooped their pants, and you're just like, shut up, whatever. I mean, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, but you know, but the thing is when it comes to mitochondrial, and some are on and some are off. Some are off because they actually trigger our immune system to respond to actual threats. We really need them to help us respond to when we're getting sick or a cold or whatever. So you notice that how when you get sick and you start getting run down, you're getting sick all the time. But when your mitochondria are mostly on and you have a good reservoir of a leeway for some to be off to deal with these other stressors, you may find you just don't get sick. I get sick maybe once a year at this point. My allergies are gone. Like it's ridiculous. Like, but I do also notice that when everything seems to be happening and I'm not giving myself that space or taking care of myself, that is when I'm going to get sick. That is going to be when it sneaks in, when it gets through, and it's going to be like, And I take that. I don't look at it as like, oh my gosh, this is the worst time ever to get sick. I can't believe this is happening to me. I'm like, oh no, I haven't been being good to myself. I better make space right now. And I know everything's going to be okay. Everybody's going to be fine,
Mhm.
and because it's, I'm making stuff up if I think the world is going to end because I don't wash the dishes or something, right? It's not what,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, so good. So good. And I love, with the vibe too, with, Sam, that practice that you do, it really does allow things to move through the body instead of just having to mentally process it,
Mm.
to really, allow that, energy to kind of move through in a different way. Every time I do one of your practices, I'm like, gosh, I need to do this every day.
I know it
I need
does.
a good
It works
workout.
so fast. It works so fast. I
Mhm.
was doing a big thing for the first time not long ago, and I went to Samantha's vibe session on a Friday, and part of me was like, oh my gosh, I don't have time for this, and I'm like, I don't have time not to do this,
Yeah,
and
totally.
everything, and it was just perfect. It was
Mhm.
exactly what I needed. I think my husband did walk through to go to the bathroom, and he thought I was crazy, but
Yeah, I had my husband too. He's like, all
what are
right.
you doing? I'm dancing. You
I'm
can't tell
letting
what
it
that's what
out.
this
I'm
is.
letting it out.
I'm
It's
sweating.
true.
Can't you see?
Yeah. And I've had those days where, my energy is just not there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at my to-do list. I have so much to do. And, I'm just trying to summon this energy from within me, sitting at my
Mhm.
desk in this like
Yeah.
small body position. And I have to tell myself who created this practice, like, Sam, you having vibe today. Get
Yeah.
out of your desk. And just by putting on one song, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have
Feels
so much more energy instantly available to me just by moving my body.
I love
I have
this
a
song.
question for you,
Mhm.
Samantha. In your experience with your clients in this practice, because I know every time I've done it with you, we like go through, 5 or 6 songs and we're moving through a whole thing. But for you, having done it and it's your practice, I mean, and you just mentioned like one song, I imagine that you can, just like you can train yourself for a sleep routine where all of it, if it, say you listen to the same lullaby every night, this you get through the first bar and all of a sudden your brain is like, oh, it's time for sleep, and you never
Yeah.
get past the song. Like, do you find that when you're vibing, like you can actually, your body's like, oh, this is what I have to do. It learns the whole process and it happens much faster. Like
Yes.
once you've gone through the program and you've learned how to do it, and you can put on one song or even a part of song and just start moving, and it's just like flipping a switch.
Mhm. 1,000%. And it's the intentionality, behind it. And it's that realizing like, where is my mind racing away from me from? Can I pause and like redirect and go through this sequence of connecting to my body, noticing where the feelings are? A lot of it's being in the present moment, being the curious observer of your thoughts and allowing things to just move through you versus kind of gripping onto them. And, for me too, having done this practice for 10 plus years now, I don't even need music. I can be washing the dishes and do my vibe practice because it's all about being in the present moment, noticing the sensation that you're feeling. So it's feeling the warm water, the suds and the bubbles, hearing the water splish splash. And instead of running through your to-do list in your head, it's really letting yourself just be fully in that present moment, breathing and just letting things pass through.
Mhm.
Is like the core foundation of it. Music, visualization adds a lot of other more transformative properties to it. But that really is the basis of just learning how to let yourself be in the present moment and be in your body.
So good.
Awesome.
So for all of us here, I would love if everybody could just pop in the chat. What is one thing that you're taking away from our call today? Yeah, just one. I know you guys have got like probably a lot of different ones, but what's one that you're going to take away? And then we will all come back into our respective Facebook groups and we'll drop the links. So if you want to learn more about vibing with Sam, you can absolutely, we'll give that. We will absolutely share Stephanie's masterclass. I know I'm going to be registering for that as well, because we can't, as a business and leadership coach, we can't be the leaders of our lives or our business if our energy and if our bodies aren't physically working well, right? And then if anybody is interested in learning how they can grow their holistic business more effectively and efficiently, you are more than welcome to come inside of my Facebook group, which is Holistic Business Abundance. And I would love to have you there too. So we'll drop all of those links there. And we're just so glad to support you guys here today. Like, thank you so much for just allowing us all to just kind of share a little bit of what it is that we want to, what we feel we're really called on our heart to do, right? So even though today the topic was energy, you can see that we all approach energy from a little bit of a different space. And there's not just one right way. It's a holistic approach, right? So we intentionally wanted to make sure that we were talking about mind, body, spirit, mind, body, emotions here, so that you guys could see and resonate with whatever felt like it was standing out for you the most. So, take what you like, try to implement one thing today that works really, really well for you or resonates with you. Feel free to reach out to any of us. We are totally here for you. Our businesses exist to serve you. We are here going live because we want to support you in whatever way we can. And I'll let Steph and Samantha share whatever it is that they want to share.
You rocked it.
You rocked it. I don't know, Sam. I don't know what you're gonna be sharing, but I know in my Facebook group, the people who are watching there, all the links that we're talking about, I'm going to share everything there. Chris will share everything in her group. Samantha will share everything in her group and make sure that wherever she shares this, those resources are available to you. And I'm just happy to be of service. I was glad to do this today. It was exciting.
Yeah. Awesome.
You guys got this. One step, one day at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We love you guys. Have a great day.
All right.